Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Yes, I'm alive. I'm here. It's been quiet, hasn't it? There's not been a lot to talk about, and instead of just forcing out content for the sake of it, I've decided, you know what, we'll take a few days off, we'll refresh the brain, and we'll get into it when there's something to talk about. And today, there's a wee bit to talk about as we prepare ourselves for the end of the international break. Before we go any further with the video, as always, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. I think we're about 6 subscribers away from 36,000 subscribers. So if we've not hit it by the time this video is actually out, hopefully you guys can push us over the line if you haven't subscribed already. But we're back. Yes, I'm glad to be back. It's been weird over the past few days because I've really wanted to make a video or do something. And then I thought to myself, there's literally nothing to talk about in relation to Celtic anyway. Now, I know I should be using my second channel and maybe Twitch or something while there is those gaps in the schedule. Make some money through that. Do something there to keep myself fresh in the mind. But I just, you know what, back for the holidays, refresh myself. New week, let's attack it from there. And we can be back to normal, hopefully, this week. There's a few things to talk about. The international break is coming to an end, of course. We've only got a couple games left. Scotland taking on Ukraine tomorrow night over in Poland. Of course, a big game for Scotland as they could, win the group in the Nations League. So, big there. I've not really been following it, to be quite honest. I'm just desperate for Celtic to be back. Absolutely desperate, and we're counting down the days till we take on Motherwell this weekend. I cannot wait. Right, let's get into the wee bits of news that there is then. It's a kind of Monday roundup, if you like, just a way to start your week as we try and get back into talking about Celtic. Some bad news to start off the week, in fact. I don't like starting the week off with bad news. I don't want to, radiate negativity onto you guys watching the videos who have decided to come and check us out. But sadly, it's how we have to start things. Now, you may have heard a couple of days ago that Georgios Giacomakis suffered an injury with the Greece national team, which has sidelined him. He had to go for scans to make sure that he was okay. There was reports that there was a discomfort in his leg during training. Nothing serious has been flagged. However, I think we've been led to believe he will not take part in any other games or such. I think he's taking it really lightly. Annoying that he's in receiving treatment. Hopefully he comes back to Celtic okay. But the sad news alongside that, because you probably already knew that, is 2 other players have now joined Georgios Giacomakis on the injury table, on the sidelines, which is not what you want to hear. And both of them attacking players as well. So on the space of one international break, we're seeing 3 of our attacking options on the sidelines with injuries. Great. Liel Abada and Dyson Maeda have both been sidelined with injuries. It looks as though they will not take part in any further games for their national sides, at least senior national sides. Liel Abada had to go off against Albania, 75 minutes. He played in the win over Albania. He went off with muscle strain. And that was the final competitive game for Israel as well, so a very important game, but he's ended off going off injured. He's now expected to join the under-20s. He will not take part in any other games with the senior side or any other training with the senior side, it seems. So it doesn't look too serious. The fact he's joining up with the under-21s is good. That's ideal. It looks as though he might still train to a certain extent, but he did go off with an injury. He has got muscle strain there. And Dyson Maeda, he went out with an injury as well. Picked up a leg injury over the USA at the end of last week, and has spent some time being treated for that. And good thing is, none of them look very serious. Giacomakis is probably the one that's the most sort of like, he's been in for scans, we're making sure he's okay, but both Abadas and Maedas, they look as though they're only minor knocks. Hopefully now they're just used sparingly, both in games and in training, and they come back to Celtic fit. But it's still annoying because it's obviously stuff you don't want to see aggravated, or you don't want to see them carry into the Motherwell game at the weekend. But the good news is it doesn't look too serious. No one's broke a leg, no one's torn an ACL. So touch wood, none of that happens, but it's not the worst injuries in the world. Now, this is the good thing about having depth in the squad, and I think this is the kind of major positive from this story, is we've signed well, especially moving up the park, because you suddenly have Maeda and Abada dropping out the team. You look at the front 3, and Giacomakis as well, you look at the front 3 that's still available, and arguably it could be our strongest front 3. It's Jota, Kyogo and Haksabanovic. a very strong front three. And if even you reversed it and it was Haksabanovic and Jota who picked up these knocks, then you'd have Maeda and Abada anyway to fill in. So we've done well in recruiting in these areas. We have got depth there, and as you go down the squad, there is obviously younger guys as well, but it's good that we have got the depth in there. Let's all touch wood, they'll be fine. Prayers that they'll be fit, and hopefully we see them as quickly as possible, because obviously we've got a hectic schedule coming up as well. We go back into playing Motherwell at the weekend, then it's Leipzig during the week, and then we have another game at the weekend, then we have Leipzig again during. It's thick and fast, so we need them back. So everybody say a prayer, touch wood, that they'll be okay. Some good news or good reading if you're into your statistics. Celtic have ranked themselves in amongst the stadium's top 30 average attendances. Yes, the Lad Bible, or one of those pages, Sport Bible, I don't care, they posted a graphic with all the top teams and who's got the best attendances, but they left Celtic out. It was apparently only the top 5 nations. They left us out because we couldn't have 2 teams from a pub league embarrassing the likes of Man City and Liverpool. But the actual top 30 stadium attendances so far to this point of the season have been published. Celtic sitting in 13th place. Really good reading for the champions of Scotland. 58,745 so far is the average, which sees us post ourselves higher than, hold on, some big teams here. Celtic's highest average attendance is higher than Real Madrid, our competitors in the Champions League group stage, the champions of Europe, the biggest club in world football, higher than Real Madrid, higher than Atletico Madrid, of course, with the new Wanda Metropolitano Stadium, higher than Manchester City, and higher than Liverpool. 4 of the teams that we are higher than in the average attendance list. There's a lot more clubs there, of course. When you're 13th in the world, you know, there's only 12 above you. So really good reading from Celtic. Great numbers from the club, which has been obviously a very popular time to have tickets for any Celtic game, whether it be Livingston or Real Madrid. You know, you're seeing, you know, close to a full house every single week at this point, which is fantastic. And we should be really, really proud of that. We are higher than Rangers as well. Of course, Rangers with a smaller stadium, but higher than Rangers. Rangers, I think they posted 28th maybe in the top 30. So 2 clubs in Scotland in amongst the top 30. Really impressive reading, to say the least. But I just want to compare it for a second with numbers over the past 10 years, just to show you what it's been like. Right, let's go back 10 years, 2012-13, exactly 10 years ago. The average attendance was 46,917. An unbelievable change in the past 10 years in recruiting fans back to the stadium, and season ticket holders' demands being through the roof. We've done a really good job. Here's the list of the last 10 years altogether. 46,000, 47,000. The lowest it ever got to was at 44,585. That was in 14-15, and we've seen a gradual rise in numbers ever since then. The number right now, looking really, really good in comparison to previous years. Of course, COVID, we didn't have a number, we didn't have fans, so we never really got anything to judge there. But even when you look at the Brendan Rodgers era, the average attendance is 55, 57. We're now higher than that, up at nearly 59,000. So it's fantastic right now seeing those numbers. And it'll always beg the question. I've seen a comment on the channel a couple of weeks ago when I briefly brought up the expansion of Celtic Park. Should there be an expansion of Celtic Park? And I've always been against it, and I will continue to be against it. But these are the sort of numbers that you look at and go, well, okay, maybe is it time? There's a demand for tickets. You look at European games, people missing out. Derby games, people missing out. Maybe there is a conversation for the expansion of Celtic Park, but I think that, you know, we should hopefully watch this for a few more years before we make any decisions, because I'm still getting the fear that we, you know, add an extra 10,000 seats onto the stadium, and then we could go to play Hamilton midweek and there's a full empty tier lying there at Celtic Park. I think we sit at a very comfortable number right now, and I know there is demand for these big game tickets, and there is a massive queue for season ticket holders, but you never know what way it's going to go. That season ticket demand could go down. The ticket demand in general could go down. So I think we need to give it a few more years before we even consider anything like that. There's no point in jumping into a decision, because Postecoglou could leave. We could go through a slump, and, you know, people just don't want to go to the games anymore. So, but fantastic nonetheless. Great readings. 13th in the world right now. It was something to be proud of, Celtic fans. So should these fantastic stats and this brilliant reading mean we get more money? Should Celtic be worth more to TV broadcasters? Yes, we're going to bring it up. It's the final bit of news I want to talk about today. The Celtic and the rest of the clubs within the Scottish Premiership will be taking part in a meeting tomorrow calling crisis talks over our TV deal with Sky Sports. The leaked deal, it was out a few weeks ago, apparently worth up to £150 million until 2029. It would see us remain with the very controversial Sky Sports. The coverage of Scottish football has been controversial to say the least. Should Celtic be looking for more money? Should we be valuing our game higher? Well, the last few days has seen a number of different opinions out there, and Dave Cormack of Aberdeen, the Aberdeen chairman, he came out with a statement in regards to this deal and Rangers' stance on the deal. Of course, if you don't know, Rangers are in opposition to this new deal. They believe that they want more money. They should be getting more money. They should be matching up with clubs in Sweden and abroad. That's the view of Rangers right now. But Dave Cormack out with a statement, and just to sum up kind of his views, and I'll read out this section of it. So in response to basically Rangers' view on the deal, he said, would the SPFL Premiership clubs be willing to provide every home game live in order to get the total value of any broadcasting deal much, much higher? The answer is no. Most clubs don't have the appetite to provide anything like 19 home league games live on television. Why? Because it would cannibalise season ticket sales, gate income, hospitality and retail sales, never mind dramatically impacting on the atmosphere at our game. So Dave Cormack, under the impression and the firm belief that that the Scottish game would suffer with all games televised, which Rangers are kind of leaning towards and suggesting could happen like it does in Sweden, because they think it'll kind of take away from the people who actually want to go to the games. If you're getting the option on a freezing cold Saturday afternoon to go and trek yourself to a football stadium or watch it in the comfort and the warmth of your own home, I think they're feeling that over time they will see more and more people choosing to watch the game from their home, which actually does carry a lot of logic, I would say. I think that if every game probably was televised, it would be great, and I've always wanted something like that. But I think for the smaller clubs, Aberdeen's all the way down to your kind of the bottom end of the table, your Dundee United, who are down there just now, your Motherwells, all the clubs would probably feel the pinch, and I think that's why they're looking out for themselves in this situation. Just to be clear, it is reported that Celtic are in favour of this new deal. They will be voting for the deal, not against, like Rangers and apparently Livingston. But Dave Cormack and Aberdeen coming out with a statement to suggest why we should be voting for the deal, why we shouldn't be turning against it, and why it is a suitable enough deal. Now, I do believe that, personally, I think Scottish football is worth more money. It does deserve more money, just like the numbers that you see in places like Sweden, Holland, Belgium, who get far more money than us. I think Celtic and other clubs in Scotland should be looking for that, but I think that it's about valuing what we want to give anyway. I don't think we just need to suddenly sell everything. Because there is ways that we can look out for the smaller clubs. It's typical in Scotland that we're never going to see eye to eye on these matters, especially when it comes to Celtic and Rangers. They'll always have a differing opinion. One club says something, the other says the other. So we'll just have to wait and see what the crisis talks lead to tomorrow. It will never be straightforward, and hopefully we will have more on the deal. It could be worth more than £120 million over the 4-year periods between 2025 and 2029. I think it's something that's reported maybe as high as 150, as I said as well. It's a lot of money for people to try and start disputing. So we'll wait and see. Let me know your opinions. What do you think? Are you on Dave Cormack's side or are you on Rangers' side? Who knows? Celtic are for the deal though, apparently. And that does it. That's me for today. Fantastic. It's nice to be back. It felt weird, actually, recording a video. It's been that long since I've just sat here and recorded. Now it's time to do the editing part, which is even worse. So, yes. But anyway, thank you for the support. Thank you for being patient with me as I've been away the past few days. And hopefully that's us back to normal this week. So, like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. And I'll see you all next time.